On February 26th, 2026, Jack Dorsey sent a note to his company. 4,000 people read it and found out they no longer had a job. Block, the fintech company behind Square, Cash App, and Afterpay, cut nearly half its workforce. Not because the business is failing. Gross profit is up 24%. Revenue hit $24 billion last year. The company made $1 billion in a single month. They did it because of AI. And here's the part worth paying attention to. Dorsey said this isn't just a Block story. He thinks most companies will do the same thing, quote, within the next year. So let's talk about what's actually happening, why it matters to your wallet and your career, and most importantly, what you can do about it. What happened at Block, and why it matters. Block is not a struggling company. It's not some old newspaper trying to survive the internet. It's a fast-moving fintech company that grew from under 4,000 employees in 2019 to over 10,000 by 2025. That's a lot of hiring. And honestly, some would argue it was too much. Dorsey didn't lay off 4,000 employees out of desperation. He made it as a bet that a smaller, leaner team armed with AI tools can outperform a large, expensive one. And here's the kicker. The market agreed. Block's stock shot up 24% after the announcement. The message from investors was clear. We reward companies that move fast and cut fat. Now zoom out. If a cutting-edge fintech can cut nearly half its workforce and still expect to grow, what does that mean for every other company sitting on bloated headcount and old processes? That's not a rhetorical question. It's the one every boardroom is quietly asking right now. The IBM story, when the market gave a warning. 3 days before Block made its move, something else happened. February 23rd, 2026. Quiet on the surface, but it sent shockwaves through IBM. If you missed it, you'll want to hear this. Anthropic, the company that makes Claude AI, announced that their tool called Claude Code can now analyze, map, and help rewrite COBOL, one of the oldest programming languages in existence, first developed in 1959. Now, why does that matter? Because COBOL runs the world's money. An estimated 95% of ATM transactions in the US run on COBOL. Airlines, insurance companies, government systems, all of it. Hundreds of billions of lines of this code buried in IBM mainframes, still processing trillions of dollars every day. For decades, the only people who could touch this code were a shrinking group of software engineers, many of them now retired. Updating these systems was so expensive and so risky that most companies just didn't. IBM built an entire business around being the only one who could. Then Claude said, "We can do this now. Quickly. Affordably." IBM's stock dropped 13% in a single day. That wiped roughly $40 billion in value. It was IBM's worst single-day drop since the dot-com crash in October 2000. For the month of February 2026, IBM was down 27%, its worst monthly performance since at least 1968. Now, to be fair, and this is important, some analysts pushed back. Rewriting COBOL is not the same as fully moving off a mainframe. There are decades of data, security systems, and processes baked into those machines. Morgan Stanley and others said the sell-off was overdone. But here's what the market was really reacting to: the direction of travel. Even if IBM survives this moment, the writing on the wall just got a lot bigger and a lot bolder. Two kinds of companies, two very different futures. Let's hold these two stories next to each other. Block announces it's using AI to do more with fewer people. Stock goes up 24%. Claude announces it can replace a core part of IBM's business model. Stock drops 13%. The market is telling us something loud and clear. Adaptation gets rewarded. Being obsolete gets punished. And the gap between the two is growing faster than most people realize. Here's the contrast worth sitting with. Block is a young company, founded in 2009. Its systems were built for the modern era. When new AI tools come out, Block can plug them in quickly. It doesn't have 60-year-old infrastructure to untangle. IBM is 115 years old. It has customers who have been running the same mainframe system since before the moon landing. You can't just flip a switch. This is the legacy system problem. And it's not just about technology. Legacy systems exist in companies, in institutions, and yes, in careers too. Is this the same for people? Here's where this gets personal. Younger companies like Block can adapt fast because they were built without old constraints. Are people the same? Can someone who built their career on skills from 20 years ago pivot as quickly as a company born in the digital age? The honest answer is, it's harder. But here's what's also true. It's not the same problem. IBM's issue isn't that it's old. IBM has brilliant people. IBM has resources. IBM's problem is structural. The business model itself is what AI is threatening. For people, the threat is much narrower. It's usually specific skills, specific tasks, specific roles, not the whole person. And that's actually good news, because people can learn new things. People can move up. A building can't decide to renovate itself, but you can. For those closer to retirement, and maybe 10, 15 years out, the goal isn't to become an AI engineer overnight. The goal is to become the person who understands the bigger picture, who can make good decisions using AI, who can connect the technology to real business outcomes. That's a role artificial intelligence cannot fill. Not today, not anytime soon. The engineers who survived the shift from drawing boards to computer design software weren't the ones who memorized every shortcut. They were the ones who understood what good design looked like and used the new tools to do it faster. How to stay nimble, practically. So, what does staying nimble actually look like? 3 things worth paying attention to. First, learn to use the tools. Not build them, use them. There's a difference. You don't need to understand how a car engine works to drive well, but you do need to drive. If you're not experimenting with AI tools in your daily work right now, start today. The learning curve is smaller than you think, and the gap between those who use it and those who don't is growing every month. Second, move up the value chain. AI is very good at getting things done. It is not good at judgment, context, relationships, or strategy. The people who do well in this era are the ones shaping decisions, not just carrying them out. If your role is mostly task execution, start asking how you can get involved in the thinking upstream. Third, think about where your company stands. Is your employer a Block or an IBM? Is it moving fast or hoping the wave passes? This matters for your financial future. If you're building a career at a company that isn't adapting, that's a risk worth thinking about. The financial reality. Own something. Here's the bigger picture that often gets lost in conversations about AI and jobs. When a company cuts 4,000 jobs and its stock jumps 24%, the wealth doesn't disappear. It moves. It flows to shareholders. This is the uncomfortable truth about this era. The gains from AI are going to flow mostly to the owners of assets: stocks, businesses, real estate, intellectual property. The people who only sell their time are more exposed. This doesn't mean everyone needs to quit their job and start a company, but it does mean that building ownership, even small amounts, matters more now than it ever has. Contributing to your retirement fund, investing consistently, owning assets, building equity in something, these aren't just good financial habits. They're a form of protection. Ownership in this era isn't optional. It's a hedge. This is an invitation. 4,000 people at Block lost their jobs. That is genuinely hard, and it shouldn't be brushed aside. But here's the part that tends to get lost. Every major shift in history, the printing press, the Industrial Revolution, electricity, the internet, was predicted to end work as we know it. Every single time, new kinds of work emerged that nobody predicted. Not because people got lucky, but because human creativity and adaptability found new problems worth solving. The question isn't whether this shift will create new opportunities. It will. The question is whether you'll be ready to access them. Dorsey said something worth holding on to. He told the employees who are staying, "What I'm asking of you is to build with me. We're going to build this company with intelligence at the core of everything we do." That's an invitation. And in many ways, it's an invitation to all of us. Build with the tools of this era. Own something. Move up the value chain. Stay curious. And don't let fear make the decision for you. Dorsey said he believes most companies will reach the same conclusion Block just reached within the next year. Whether that's 12 months or 36 months, the direction is clear. The people who come out of this era ahead won't necessarily be the most technical. They'll be the most adaptable. The ones who leaned in when everyone else was leaning back. So here's something worth sitting with. Right now, today, are you building a legacy system, or are you building something that can adapt? And what's one thing you can do differently starting tomorrow? Drop a comment below. Would love to know where you are on this journey. And if there's a specific part of the AI and money conversation you want to go deeper on, let's make that the next video. If this video helped you, consider subscribing. You can also like, comment, or share. See you in the next video.